All right, everybody. Hey, great to be with you. Excited. And hey, so as we get into this, I've got, of course, Lieu Tran with me today. And one of the things that I appreciate about Lieu is just her story and from really where she's come from and what she's done. And if you don't know her story, it's a pretty impressive one. I'm going to save that for her to share. But I've just loved what I've seen her do since 2016 as she got into the business. For 2017, actually, she can probably correct me. I can't remember if it was 16 or 17 that she was Rookie of the Year, but for the Salt Lake Board of Realtors, and just came out absolutely so disciplined, so driven, and so denying of the fact that you can make it in this business at a high level, to where in her first year, she was sitting there selling 70, 80 homes a year and just did it right out of the chute. So highly educated and very, very wise beyond her years, and has just also had a new little baby in the last several months, but less than a year old, if I recall. And so we're excited to have you with us, Lieu. And let me just unmute you here just really quick. Gotta find you here really quick. There you are. All right. Oh, there. All right, there you are. All right, Lieu, how are you this morning?
Good. How are you, George?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for being with us. So good to see you. And I know we got a chance to talk yesterday, so it's great. So, hey, so give us just a little bit of, you've been in the business since 2016, is that right?
Yes. Yeah. So this will be my
when did you get Rookie of the Year? You're, two-time top NAREP agent, because you do a lot of Hispanic business also with your team. And then also, of course, you've got a ton of accolades and had a ton of success. But when were you Rookie of the Year? Remind me of that.
I got in real estate beginning of 2016, I believe. So that would make me.
So wasn't 17 the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So you're Rookie of the Year 2017. So tell us just a little bit about your history. So one of the things I've already had people text me like, have her tell her story, share her story, share her story. So just talk a little bit about your childhood. Talk about where you came from. Talk just for a moment about just your journey to the U.S. and what that looked like and how that came about.
Yeah. So really quick, actually, I'm from Vietnam, and my family came here as a refugee. Utah is actually the first state that we arrived in Salt Lake City. Long story short, I went to college, got my master, went back to Vietnam, worked for Budweiser selling beer. And actually, I didn't enjoy that much, so I went back to Utah, and my sister, Vivi, and my brother, Long, they do real estate. They actually work for Century 21. And they asked me to help them with some translations. And I was bored. I was trying to find out what I wanted to do with my life. I have a lot of student debt at that time. I think it was about 100 grand. And I just.
And you got your master's, and you got your master's degree from where? Cornell?
No, I got my master at Columbia University in New York City.
Columbia, not Cornell. Yeah. Sorry, Columbia. I knew it was one of the Ivy Leagues. So that's great. Good for you.
Thank you. And so I decide, what can I do? And so I was helping them with real estate, and I thought it was good. I thought, it was nice, but it was Rob Oki that told me I cannot do what I'm doing without getting my license. So so I went and
Of course he did. That's a good thing.
It was Rob. He said, you can't do this. You can't say that. And so actually I got my real estate. I got my, and then I spoke with Rick Bentley, and I asked him, I just want to make, good amount of money, and I want to get out of real estate. Like, I don't need 3 more people in my family who have real estate license. And then I told him my goal. I told him I would like to make about $100,000 to pay off my student loan that I accumulate during my year at Columbia. And he said, okay. So I did it. I actually I make it in 3 months. For really, in my, I think it was my first or second quarter that I actually was able to make that much. And then I decided, you know what?
So your second quarter ever in the business, let me make sure I'm clear, Lou. So in your second quarter in the business, you made over $100,000.
Yeah. And
Yeah, it's incredible.
thank
All right.
you. And then, you know, I told him like, what, you know, what are the goal? Like, I asked Rick, you know, if I were to make this much, where do I need to be? How many transactions I need to close? And he said, if you were to close almost more than 40, then you definitely will you pay off your debt. And on top of it, you might become the rookie of the year. And that was it. You know, that was it. He said, you know what? You have only one shot in your career in real estate. You know, you cannot go back and repeat to be the rookie of the year. You have one shot, 1 year. And that was my goal. So my goal was to pay up my student debt, move on with my life. And then my second goal was like, well, you know what? I actually want to do something that is really fun, because who gets to try to be the rookie of the year in their career? So that was the only goal I have after I pay up my after I make that 100 grand. That was it. The whole year I was focused on, I will be the rookie of the year, and that's it. And that's how I actually worked so hard to get where
Great.
I was in 2016 and 17.
That's great. So here we are in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So things have changed just a little bit. Talk a little bit about what your business has been and how you're approaching it now. So in the past, right? I mean, just talk a little bit about how you secured business, how you built your business, which I really think and I know part of the answer you're going to give. And I think what's really relevant here, guys, is that what you're going to see is there's a common thread between, from Tina Hare to Kathleen Bruno to Justin Udy. I mean, you start to see this common thread, which is what she's going to say. So just pay very close attention. So how did you do that much business? How did you get your business?
So in the beginning, I actually door knock a lot. My first year, I door knock like crazy. I can actually—
Hold on. So I got to stop right there. So let's make sure I'm clear. You said the words door knock.
Yes.
All right. So I just want to make sure everyone hears that as I continue to find the top agents in this business, it's crazy to hear them say the same answer. I door knocked a ton of doors. And I think and I know that many of those agents that even been interviewed right now also have done the same thing. So I know I'm cutting you off, Lou. I apologize, but I just want people to hear that, because I get the fact that right now we can't door knock and it's not appropriate to do so. But I am telling you that there will be a day that will be back. And I hope that people hear what you're saying, and the many people that have come before you, that door knocking is a key component to the success of top producing agents. So keep going. So you door knocked it in the very beginning.
I went from door knock. I door knock 8 hour a day. Like I door knock in the morning, and then I door knock in the afternoon. But I was very specific of the location that I door knock, who I was servicing, and I always bring my notebook. I always bring a script to answer like those questions. And then I believe, you know, if I were to door knock today, I can actually knock out maybe 100 home in 2 hours. So I was pretty fast. So
let's make sure I'm clear. I'm sorry. Our job is to do this. I mean, this is awesome. So hold on. So our job is to do lead follow-up and set appointments. Number 2, it's to give presentations. Number 3, it's to negotiate contracts. Number 4, it's to get price reductions. Number 5 is to work with very qualified buyers. So if that's the role, but if you didn't have any buyers to work with, you had no presentations to give, no reductions to get, no negotiations to be had, you would spend 8 hours a day prospecting.
Yeah, I would be out. And then
I just want to make sure people hear that, because that is a rare human being who's willing to be rejected that many times, because that's the reality, which is amazing. Keep going.
I would be out, and I would door knock on people's house. I would come back and I would role play with Rick and with the group in the morning. And then I would bring some of the objections that I got during my door knock. and then I would ask them, like, how would you respond to this? Or I would talk to some client, and then when I was done off and they told me the situation, and then I would say, hey, I don't know how to answer this question, but let me ask someone else who can actually help you, or let me go back to you. And so I nurture my lead for a long time. Even like I still have, there was one guy I closed last year. I followed him 2 years, and I was from door knock, then from phone call, and then from waiting, and then from phone call. And then finally he said, okay, I'm ready, so come. And then when I came, I did my presentation in 15 minutes, Lily. I didn't even have to tell him how much I charge. I just told him, this is how much I'm going to sell your home. Here's the contract, sign it. And that's it. Because I do so much rapport, and he has so much confidence in me that I will do a good job, that the commission or how much he will pay me doesn't really matter. The end of the day is he believed in me, and that he said is you know, if you in this business, it's about the number game, I believe, you know. And as time go by, I learned that is not about what script you said, it's not about how you say it, it's about you following up. That is something that one of my clients that I called up the other day, and she said, you know what, my house is expired, and all I heard is just from Century 21 agent, they blow up my phone call, like they blow up my husband and my phone call. I need you to come and to solicit the home for us so people can stop calling us. And that's something that I really appreciate from you and the leader, especially teaching about the follow-up, teaching about, you know, this business is a long run, it is not a short run. When I first joined your company, I thought it was only 1 year, and now
I remember you telling me I'm going to be done doing this in 2 years. I said, well, once you get there, why don't you make that decision? The good news is you're making so much money and you're doing so many good things. So that's so fantastic. So talk about this. What would you tell an agent today? What counsel would you give an agent today in regards to who are a little bit discouraged? Obviously, we're having to get on the phone more. That's the obvious. We're having to contribute at a much higher level. So you now have, and let's give, you have your team. So you have you and just describe your team, and then describe what you're challenging your team to do, and what you're doing.
So right now I have actually 5 agents in my team. They are, 2 of them are listing agent, and then 3 of them are buyer agent. When I spoke with you on the phone yesterday, one of the biggest challenge that I have seen is how the market have changed so dramatically that it's so hard to adapt. Because like you, I have one agent, I'll give you an example. In my team, she just got her license and she put a client under contract, and 2 days before we closing, and the client decide that they can't purchase the home because they get laid off, you know. And it happened in my team,
right?
Like in a week that 7 deals fall apart for our agent, and you know, their income have cut down, and you know, we in stretch mode. Like a lot of us in stretch mode, our team is in stretch mode. But I have talked to them that, you know, this is part of doing business. You know, you have an up and you have a downside of everything. This will also determine who is going to be the best agent. It's kind of like determine, can you survive in this situation. And one of the things that my team have done, because we can go out to door knock, we can be face to face with people. One of the things we have done is we have follow up with a lot of SOI. When I have a team with meeting with my team, I told them, like, I want you to come up with all the list of the people you have purchased the home in the past, you have sold the home in the past, and just follow up with them. See what you can do to help them. Call them up, see if, you know, if they have problem with calling the bank even to pay for their mortgage, or they can't pay for the mortgage. See how's their family doing. And then that, when we start doing that, that conversation becomes real estate again. They ask, what do you think of the market? Do you think we should sell? Do you think we should buy? And then we just continue doing it, and it will be over. It will be okay. Every day I continue telling myself, this will be okay. It will be okay. We will get over with it. We just have to be patient. We have to work smarter. And just to share with you, one of the story is that last week I went to one of my client home, and when I went back, they called me and they said, my whole family, we went and we tested. Our husband is in intensive care, and we are contracted with the virus. And then at the same night, my kid, who's only 8 months, which I'm a new mom, my first kid, he got sick, and I freaked out. I was so afraid. I was like, no, I cannot go out no more. I cannot do this. What are some of the way that I can get business? I still can talk to people, but without going to people home. And that's something that I talked to you yesterday. And as we join on this kind of phone call, I learned from other agents and you yourself, George, on what are some of the ways that we can do to overcome this situation. But nowadays, it mostly just on the phone call. One of the things that, the community that I service, is not very high tech. So a lot of like old generation who doesn't know how to use Zoom, for example, that they require you to be in face to face, and so they can feel comfortable, because it's one of the biggest transactions you might ever make in your life. So one of the things that I have done since last week is I asked them, what, since you don't know how to use Zoom or FaceTime, can you send me a picture of your home? Can you give me a picture of every single room in your house, even including the bathroom, the backyard, the front door, and then I can walk you through how much you can sell it for, or what you can do with your property. And actually, it worked.
That's great. So actually, that's a brilliant idea. So you have them take a picture or even a little video and having them move that through, and then they send it over to you, and then because everyone can do that just on their phone, right?
Yes, and that's are some of the way that we try to overcome the challenge of not to be able to meet with friends or family, or even our client who want to sell. In the buyer side, my agent, they only show home that is like the buyer, they have the buyer pick. It's 5 homes, only 5 homes that you absolutely love, and you're might put in an offer, and then we arrange the time to show them the home and try to have them get into a new home.
That's great. So tell me this, Lieu, what's next for Lieu? What does she want to accomplish? What do you want to see happen for yourself? What do you want to see from a production standpoint, from a life standpoint? What's some of the things that are really important to you right now that are your focus points and that you would like to see happen in your career and your life?
That's a great question. Thanks, George. One of the things that before I have my kid, it was everything.
Right.
But now I have a little one. It's different. They determine a lot of your goal, because you have to put them in an equation on what you want to do in life. But in terms of production, in terms of where I want to take my team, one of the goals that I have, and until I retire from real estate, which could be in a couple years, who knows, depends, is I would like to bring my team to be the #1 in the world. I believe it's possible. I believe if I focus, and if I do it smartly, I believe I can. Even we are in a difficult market, and I believe that we're going to see a lot of agents will be out of this business. I never gone through what you gone through in 2008, 2009, but I know personally, I know people who lost their home. I also know a lot of agents got out of the business. And so right now, to me, if you ask me for this year, I would like to have new business planned on what I'm going to do with my team when the market change and when everything get back to normal.
Well, and we talk, just on it. So let me stop you there for so key thing, right? We talked about the fact that look, your goals, your plan, and possibly even your schedule are not even relevant from what you had created in January or February, right?
No.
So the key thing, in fact, I encouraged you yesterday. I said to you, Lou, I said, look, you've got to rewrite your goals, you've got to rewrite your plan, and you got to make sure you're really in alignment with that and make the necessary adjustments. And as we're getting to this new norm, right, we've all got to get really serious about what's the new destination, where am I heading, where am I going? And if we don't get really clear on that, is, as you know, is that then all of a sudden we may show up and we're not even where we want to be because we never decided where we wanted to be. And so I'm just going to challenge everybody who's listening, like, look, get really, really, really serious about knowing where you're going and the objectives that you have for your life. And if those objectives have expanded to like charity, which I want to talk to you about, Lou, but if they've expanded to dollars, if they expanded transactions, maybe there's family goals, maybe there's spiritual goals, maybe, but get really clear on like, okay, wait a second here. If I have the ability right now to hit a little bit of a reset button, what do I want my life to look like right now? And I think this is an amazing time to be able to do that in almost every aspect of our lives. So talk a little bit about charity. Talk about some of the things that you've done, and I think you've done some great things with your charity. And I always mess it up because I'm so bad with my foreign speaking, even if it is Spanish, but I'm horrible with it. But share with us just your story about what you've been doing from a place of charity, because I know you've been doing some really cool things over the last several years.
Yeah, so one of the things that I really wanted to do is like, I'm a big believer in when you get something back, you should give back. So because where I'm coming from and how I grow up, you know, we're pretty poor family, and I always amazed how Americans so open-minded and open heart about giving us and helping us and giving us the roof over our head. And so when I'm able to make money, we want to give back, as not just me, but as a team. And so my first year in real estate, I did a refugee clothing. I collected new clothes, old clothes, used clothes, friendly clothes, and we make it into kind of like a shop for people to come and pick whatever they wanted. And then that's one of the activity that I have been doing. Another one that I just, we every Christmas in our team, we join with a Latino radio station. And in the Hispanic community, they call me the La Chinita, I mean the Asian lady. And so we give to 10 family surprise present for the whole family. But 10 family that in need. So usually what they do, they draw in their story why they deserve to have a Christmas miracle. We call it the Christmas miracle, and we actually deliver those gifts to people who at the hospital, who family at the hospital. We deliver those stuff to family who just, you know, domestic violence. And we do a lot of that. So in terms of charity, we always wanted to give back something, and it's fun. Like for our team, it's give us something to do besides real estate.
So I just love all the stuff you're doing, because if you haven't looked up at your chat box, you know, you've got all your fans that are talking about just the great example that you are. You've got the drive that you have, which is a really cool question. Guys, if you have any questions, please kick them in there. We've got about 8 to 10 minutes left. And here's the question I have is, I keep hearing and I see that the chats that keep coming up about your drive. What makes you so driven? What makes you go earn all this money, do all these transactions, prospect 8 hours a day, you know, do all this charity work? You have a child, a young, really a newborn at some level, right? An 8-month-old. I mean, what makes you so driven? Why? What's important about it? What is it that makes you tick?
You know what? I think one of the reasons why I'm so driven, and I ask myself too, is the fact that I don't want to pass away and regret of not doing the thing that I wanted to do in my life. And
Well, that's powerful. Using it chills.
and if with this corona happened, I actually thought a lot about death, surprisingly, because eventually one of this day we will have to answer to it, right? And I just asked myself, you know, what do I have any regret in life? And the answer is, you know, probably not, because I everything I do, I just do with 100%. And even is it success or not, I don't know, but I know I'm going to do it. And so I think that's the dream that I have. And I would like to, one day I would like to be able to make the kind of, be in the financial situation where I would say, you know, F you money. Money doesn't become an option for me. And that's one of the reasons why. It had nothing to do with because how much money I have or how much money I love. It have everything to do with financial freedom. And now that the more I'm doing real estate, the more I realize that, you know what, being in a financial situation where you always have to think about what you're going to buy, how you're going to feed your family, is not present. It's not freedom. It's not the way to live your life. And that is what drives me, is because I want to say, okay, I want to take my family here. I want to give this people this much. You know, I want to be able to write a check and not think about it. And that's what driven me. It's like, I want to make the type of money where one day I'm like, okay, you know what? Here it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what driven me. I'm not, you know, it's not spiritual or anything, but you know.
I don't think it needs to be. You know, it's the great words. In fact, you know what? How about this, Lou? I was listening this morning to a little bit of Jim Rohn, and he talked about it. You've heard me say this before, but the late Jim Rohn, who's passed away a few years ago, and he said I was listening to his little story of Earl Shove, his mentor, coming to him and saying, "Hey, you need to earn $1 million." And Jim went on to say, "Well, sounds great. I really would love $1 million because I'd love to see." He goes, "No. It's not so much the $1 million that matters. It's who you have to become to earn $1 million." And what I've been so impressed by from you, Lou, is who you've had to become. Because I met you right in the beginning. I remember meeting you in the lobby of the building that I'm standing in right now. And I remember being there, and I met you for the first time. And I have to tell you that yes, you are impressive, but I had no idea the tiger and the absolute, you know, lioness that you are of just getting things done. And it is incredible. And I think that there's so much to take away from the fact that if I describe you, I sit there and go, wow, a beautiful businesswoman, incredibly intelligent, someone who is highly driven, a solid mindset. And you start looking at that. And then I hope that you guys heard this, is that she would get an objection, and she would either even ask the very person, is what I understood. And then also you would ask others and say, hey, when this comes up, how do you answer that? But because you had enough failures, you were able to find out the answers when the next time it came up, right?
Yes. And to be honest with you, I paused when I first began it was not pretty. And last week I have an agent who called me and asked me, like, how you do it? How did you handle all this objection? And I said, you know what? Whatever they say have nothing to do with me. You know, I even have people who like told me that, oh, go back to your country. You know, you can't step on my lawn. I'm going to call the police on you. I have even people like cuss at me, you know, and even make fun of my accent or my language. And I was like, you know what? That's your problem, not my problem, you know. And
wow.
And when I come to that mindset, that is their problem, not my problem, then that's where I see my business went up. When I talked to Rick, and he just, you know, in the role play, and I said, you know what, this, and the morning Ascent, and he can testify to it. I was there every morning. I was there to role play. I was there to get some inspiration, even though, you know, a lot of the things that we say are the same thing. but it stuck in my mind, and I was there to be the rookie of the year. Like I told you in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, that's when we met, and I said, you know what, George, I'm going to be the rookie of the year. And I know in your face, she was like, yeah, right. You know, I'm like, well, I'll prove them. It's okay. You know what I mean? And it's not about the award, to be completely honest with you, but it's about, I did it. It's about overcoming. And I can tell you, and I can tell to whoever listening right now who's new to the business, you can do it. It's hard work. That's what it is. It's hard work and persistent. If you make the phone call you're supposed to make, you knock on the door you're supposed to knock on, you ignore all the people who say you couldn't do it, you will make a fortune. And that's why you keep telling me, George, and I have made a very good amount of money in for the last 4 years, almost 4 years that I'm in the business, and I'm planning to expand more, to do more, not in terms of just making money, but to help more family. That's what it is at the end of the day, It's like, to me, every day I'm like, who can I talk to? Which family that needed me to talk to? And nowadays, I actually, in my, can I share something with you? I know.
Please, this is great.
But so my first year, I was doing the listing and the buying. And in my second year, I make a decision consciously and unconsciously in my mind that I'm going to run a team, I'm going to build a team, and I'm not going to do no more buying. And I only going to work with special family of people that really needed my service in terms of buying and showing home. And so for the last 2 years and a half, I have not gone to show people how, beside one person, Rick Jefferson. Which
Sure, of course.
That is the only person that's exceptional, and I appreciate him for calling me and having me help purchase their home. But I make that decision.
But you want to know, I can tell you why. I mean, if he probably told you, I think, Rick Davidson had 500 agents in Utah to choose from. And do you want to know why he chose you? I remember I asked him the question.
I don't think I asked him that question.
Well, I asked him why work with Lieu, and he said, because I am so inspired by her story. And that is, what continues to come up even on the chat, is just that you truly are an inspiration. I hope that you'll never lose that, because you bring so much value to others that it's a simple statement, right? They look at you and this is a good thing. They say, wow, if she can do it, everyone knows the answer, so can I. And it is impressive what you've done and what you are continuing to do. I mean, look, you're making $500,000 plus every single year, and you're doing it in really, you completely, to your point, you took a whole 180 to your business, where in the beginning you were willing to work with any buyer, any seller, and do whatever it took. And you really have revolutionized your business to where it's not you every minute showing every home every second. It's not you doing every angle of that. But the best thing that you've shown, and what continues to come up, another one just came up, is to what your example is and the way in which you lead guys. If you haven't figured this out, some people build a team so they don't have to work, and it never works. The one thing I've observed is that those who want to build a team, if they're setting the example based on who they are and who they're calling and what they're doing and their work ethic and their discipline, then it always works. It's when they try to escape the work to just have a team. And that never works effectively long term. So just kudos to you to how you're building your team.
Thank you. And I always told my team, if I wouldn't ask you to do the thing that I would have not done before. I wouldn't have you walk into a home if I'm not going to walk into that home. And so one of the things that in my team, I always said, you know what, my goal is not to make more money. My goal is to help you make more money. My goal is to improve your family life. My goal is to help you improve your family life, because in return, I'm gonna get part of it. And, you know, and that's one of the things that a lot of people think that, you know, running a team is to make a lot of money from other agent. And I think that's crazy. You know, you have to help people. You have to help your agent. You have to help your client to achieve that goal. Then it's your turn. You know, and that's the very reason why, you know, I love my team. I love them to death. I'm like their mom, you know. Before I don't have a kid, but now I have a kid. They just like my mom. And one of my agent, like, you know, Tran really well.
Sure.
And he started real estate, and one thing I told him,
very great,
Tran,
great agent.
Tran, I was rookie of the year, and now I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna help you. We're gonna help you be the rookie of the year, because you can do it. I can do it. So are you. So that's the mindset that we have in our team, and that's the mindset that I have with all of my my client who I service. I always told them, you can buy one home, but I'm gonna help you purchase 4 home, 5 home down the road. You know, and that's how a lot of my business nowadays, like, it's just SOI, like, to be completely honest with you.
Well, no, but that's what you've set up to where business is now coming to you because of the work that you've done over the last 3 or 4 years, which is fantastic. So I want to just, we've got to wrap up, Lou, but let me just, one, be thinking of what your final thoughts are for this group. And I just want to remind everybody, the thing I'm hearing from that is this. This is a huge takeaway, that it's the, and he said it best, it's the late Zig Ziglar who said, if you help enough people get what they want, you inevitably are going to get what you want. So the key that I'm hearing from you is, look, help people get what they want, and you're going to get what you want. You don't even have to focus on your economics, because your economics will be automatic if you help other people. So the key here is helping other people, helping other clients, helping sellers, helping buyers. And I believe the opening line right now, guys, for our entire prospecting world is simply these words: how can I help you? How can I help you? It doesn't matter what their answer is, because to your point early on, you said they're going to turn to real estate no matter what anyway. They're going to talk about it. They're going to say, what's the market doing? But first and foremost, how can I help you? So Lou, give us your final thoughts, and we'll finish up with some affirmations here. What's your final thoughts for this great group, this motley crew that's listening in? And I am not exaggerating this, Lou. It is the most messaging I have ever seen on any of our interviews to date. So love the fact of how you're inspiring people and what they're capable of doing, and finding the you know, the lion or the lioness inside of them.
So my final thoughts to all of you and all the agents who's out there are listening to this message this morning is that it will be okay. You know, I one of the things that I have come to realize that is not what happened out there, it's what happened in here. And I try my best, and we all have to protect our mindset, to protect what information that we get in. But we have to realize that we are the one that we are the one in control. No matter what happens, we are the one in control, and it will be okay. Everything will be okay. And once all of this over, we will be glad that we went through this. I'm glad that actually I'm going through this. And this is the time that will give me a lot of time to think about my life,
Right.
think about a lot of this stuff. So, you know what? Breathe and be thankful, and we will go through this together.
Lou, thank you. That's right. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So, you know, I love it. I love it. And it's a time of reflection, a time to hit a reset or a recalculation. So thank you so very, very much. Thank you for spending time with us. And congratulations on obviously your addition to the family. And thank you for continuing to be an inspiration and just an example of how business is to be run, how business is to be done. So thank you for who you are, and thank you for spending time with us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm going to put you on